Morning light spills through the tall courthouse windows, slicing through the heavy silence like a blade. You can almost hear the weight of every unspoken word in that room. Cameras hum softly in the back, reporters waiting for a headline that could end the sister wives' legacy once and for all. It is Meri who sits alone at the plaintiff's table, her eyes fixed upon the polished wood before her. She's not the woman we once saw smiling on TV, holding it together through heartbreak. No. This Meri looks tired, but certain. Years of silence have finally turned into resolve. Across the aisle, Kody Robyn adjusts his suit, clearly uncomfortable. His signature confidence feels cracked today. Robyn sits beside him, whispering under her breath, her hand clutching his arm. Every so often, she shoots a glance toward Meri, her eyes sharp not from guilt, but from fear. The bailiff says, "All rise. Court is now in session." The gavel slams. The trial has officially begun. Judge Patterson, known for her reserved yet calm authority, looks over her glasses at both sides. "We're here to discuss the claim of deception, fraud, and falsified family representation," she begins. "Mrs. Meri Brown versus Mr. Kody Robyn and Mrs. Robyn Brown." Gasps ripple across the spectators' benches. Even Christine and Janelle exchange uneasy glances, though they sat quietly in the audience. They hadn't expected it to go this far. Meri takes a deep breath. "Your Honor," she says softly, "this isn't about revenge, it's about truth. For years, I have watched my family fall apart while lies built the foundation we stood on. But now I have proof, and I can't hide it anymore." Kody leans back, smirking. "Proof of what, Meri? That family struggle? That we made mistakes?" Meri's voice sharpens. "No, Kody, proof that you built this family on manipulation. That everything we believed in was based on a secret you and Robyn kept from all of us." Robyn gasps softly, shaking her head. "That's not true." But the judge raises a hand. "You'll have your turn, Mrs. Brown." Bold retention line. But when the truth enters a courtroom, even the closest relationships begin to shake. It is Christine that the court officer now calls first. Stepping up to the stand, Christine hesitates. The tension between her and Kody is palpable, old wounds being opened up again. "Meri," Christine starts, "I didn't want it to come to this, but I saw things. I heard things. You were always the one left out, and Kody made sure of that." Kody snaps. "Objection, hearsay." The judge narrows her eyes, saying, "Overruled. Continue." Christine's hands have a slight tremble to them as she speaks. "A year before I left, I saw Robyn crying in her room. She said she couldn't live with the guilt anymore. I asked her what she meant, but she shut down. I thought it was about the show. Now I think it was about something else." Murmurs fill the courtroom. Robyn's eyes flick nervously toward Kody. He refuses to look back. The judge leans forward. "Mrs. Brown, are you suggesting there was some sort of undisclosed relationship or deception prior to or during the marriage?" Christine nods slowly. "Yes, ma'am. I believe Meri was lied to about something crucial. Something that explains why everything fell apart." Meri's eyes glisten, but she keeps her composure. Years of being dismissed, painted as emotional, jealous, the one who couldn't adapt, finally seemed to find their place in this room. Kody's attorney gets up. "Your Honor, this is nothing more than a family feud being dramatized. There's no evidence that." But before he can finish, Meri stands up. "I have the evidence." The entire courtroom goes silent. Cameras zoom in. You can almost feel the air being sucked out of the room. She holds up an envelope, the same one from the hook. "Inside this envelope," she says, is a DNA test that proves everything I've been saying. A test that connects Robyn's youngest child to someone we never expected. Gasps ring out. The blood drains from Robyn's face. Kody's jaw tightens. Meri, stop this madness. You're destroying what's left of this family. Meri turns toward him. Her eyes steady. You already did that, Kody. I'm just showing the truth. Bold retention line. Silence can protect the guilty much more often than the innocent. The judge heaves a sigh. Her voice is heavy. Mrs. Brown, this court will review the evidence. But before we do, I need to understand your motive. Why bring this into court now, after all these years? Meri drops her eyes momentarily. Because I couldn't breathe anymore. Every time I'd watch that show, every time I saw the world believe we were one big happy family, it felt like I was dying inside. And when I learned what that DNA test showed, I realized if I kept quiet, I was just as guilty as they were. Robyn bursts into tears. This isn't fair. You don't know the full story, Meri. There were reasons. Then tell them, Meri says firmly. Tell everyone why you and Kody lied. Whispers and voices of shock ripple through the courtroom, and the judge calls for order. Kody slams his fist on the table and exclaims loudly, Enough! This is a family matter, not a legal one. The judge replies coldly, Mr. Brown, your public image and the contracts involved with your family make it very much a legal matter. If fraud was committed, this court will find out. Meri calmly sits down, her face pale but serene. She knows there's no turning back. As the court takes a brief recess, Christine and Janelle rush to her side. Are you sure about this? Janelle whispers. This could destroy everything. Meri nods. It already is destroyed, Janelle. I'm just the only one willing to say it out loud. Robyn leans in toward Kody in the corner, saying something we can't hear. His face hardens. For the first time, it's not pride in his eyes. It's panic. Bold retention line. It's when the control of one man over the story starts breaking down that the facades of reality begin to slip away. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarm in, shouting questions about the sister-wives scandal. Cameras flash. Fans who once adored the family now demand answers. Is the DNA test real? Did Kody lie to his wives? Who is the father? But inside, Meri sits quietly, her eyes on the paper in her hands. She whispers to herself, They'll finally know. The judge re-enters, signaling the next phase. We shall now consider Exhibit A, the DNA evidence submitted by the plaintiff. Robyn's tears fall silently. Kody clutches the table, his jaw clenched. Meri closes her eyes for a second, remembering the years of emotional silence, the empty smiles, the broken promises. Then she looks up and says softly, Let's begin. The envelope is opened. Whatever the truth may be, is about to be read aloud. But just before the clerk begins, Robyn suddenly stands. Wait, please, don't read it. I'll talk. I'll tell everything. The judge stops, pen in hand. The courtroom freezes again. Meri's face hardens. So you were hiding something. Robyn's voice cracks. It's not what you think, Meri. It's worse. The judge motions to everybody to sit. Then you'd better start talking, Mrs. Brown. Robyn nods slowly, tears streaming down her face. Okay, but you all need to understand, none of this was supposed to happen. Bold retention line. Every confession begins with fear and ends in devastation. The camera pans across every face in shock. Christine puts her hand over her mouth. Janelle looks like she's in a daze. And Kody? He looks like a man who just realized his whole world is about to come crashing down. Fade out on one hit of the gavel. The courtroom is colder now. The tension that was there before hasn't dissipated. It has multiplied. Everybody is breathing slower, waiting for Robyn's next words. Even the hum of the air conditioner sounds louder than usual. It's the sound of a truth struggling to break free. Robyn stands up, her hands shaking as she looks toward the judge. "Your Honor," she says in a quavering voice, "before the DNA test is read, I need to explain what really happened. Because if I don't, this paper will destroy more than just names. It will destroy lives." Kody's face tightens. His voice is low, warning. "Robyn, don't." But she ignores him. For the first time, she doesn't look upon him as her protector. She looks at him as an accuser. "I met Kody years before the cameras ever started rolling," she says. "Back then, I was struggling, raising kids alone. He promised me a future, a family. But what he didn't tell me was that he was still trying to fix his marriage with Meri. He made me believe that Meri knew about us, that she accepted it. But she didn't. He lied. To both of us." Gasps echo. Meri's lips part, her eyes filling with disbelief. "You're saying he was with you before we even knew?" Robyn nods. "Yes, and when I found out, I wanted to leave. But then I found out I was pregnant." Fold, retention line. Sometimes the secrets that shatter us were born long before we ever saw the cracks. Fold. The gavel strikes once, demanding silence. The shock is too heavy to contain. Christine buries her face in her hands. Janelle shakes her head slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. "I knew something didn't feel right back then." Fold. Kody gets up suddenly. "Enough. You don't understand. Robyn was scared, and I was trying to protect her. That's all." Fold. The judge cuts him off. "Mr. Brown, sit down. You'll have your turn." Robyn continues, voice barely above a whisper. "He said we'd fix it quietly, that no one needed to know. He told me if the truth ever came out, the show, the family, everything would end. So I agreed to say the child was born later, that it was part of the show's timeline." Meri clutches the table's edge, whispering, "You lied about a child?" Robyn nods, tears running down her face. "Yes, and that is why that DNA test matters. It doesn't just prove who the father is, it proves when it all started." The courtroom buzzes like electricity. The judge looks between them. "Are you confirming that the child's parentage and birth date were falsified for the show and for public image?" Robyn nods again. "Yes, Your Honor." Kody's lawyer springs to his feet. "Your Honor, this is irrelevant." "Overruled," snaps the judge. It goes to the heart of the deception claim. Bold retention line, truth doesn't require a spotlight. It burns on its own. Robyn continues, her voice cracking. "I wanted to tell Meri years ago, but every time I tried, Kody said it would destroy her, that she wasn't strong enough. So I stayed silent. And with every episode, and every family meeting, and every time we smiled for the cameras, I hated myself even more." The room falls into a deep silence. You can even hear someone in the gallery sniffle quietly. The pain is thick, real. Meri's voice shakes. "All those years I begged for honesty, for a real explanation. And you both let me believe I was the problem." Kody's eyes drop, and he mutters, "It wasn't that simple." Meri leans forward. "It never is it, Kody? It's never simple when you're the one lying." Her words fall like a slap. The judge writes something on his notepad, and then looks up. "Mrs. Brown, does the DNA evidence confirm your statement?" Robyn nods weakly. "Yes, the test shows the timeline doesn't match the official record. It proves the baby was conceived while Kody was still publicly committed to Meri alone." Christine gasps. So the affair wasn't just emotional, it was real. Meri shuts her eyes and a tear leaks out. "Everything I felt, all the doubts, all the late nights, It was all true. The hardest part about being right is realizing what it costs you. Whispers arise, and heavy breathing resonates within the courtroom. The reporters look uneasy. All their pens stopped in mid-sentence. Kody gets to his feet, his voice shaking with anger and guilt. "I made mistakes," he says, "but I did what I thought was right for our family. We were falling apart, and I didn't want to lose everything we'd built. The show, the houses, the reputation, it was all we had left. So you lied to your wives and to millions of viewers to protect your image?" The judge cuts in sharply. Kody hesitates and then says, "To protect my family." Meri scoffs. "You mean yourself, Kody." "You didn't protect us, you erased us." Her voice breaks slightly on the last word. The courtroom feels it. Robyn covers her face and starts sobbing. Bold retention line. When love turns into control, even loyalty becomes a form of punishment. The judge calls for a brief recess. Reporters start rushing outside, phones buzzing. The headlines are already forming. Sister-wives scandal, secret affair timeline revealed. Meri confronts Kody over hidden child. Inside, the wives sit in silence. Christine turns to Meri. "Are you okay?" Meri nods weakly. "No, but I think for the first time, I will be." She looks toward Robyn, who's being comforted by a court officer. "I don't hate you, Robyn," Meri says softly, "but I hate that you let him use you to hide the truth." Robyn's sobs grow louder. "I didn't know how to stop him, Meri. He said if I ever told anyone, he'd take the kids and leave me with nothing." Christine whispers, "He told me that too." The judge retakes his seat in the bench. This court will resume. We'll now proceed to exhibit review and testimonial cross-examination. Kody's face is stone. He knows the storm is coming. The judge looks at Meri. "Mrs. Brown, would you like to call your next witness?" Meri gets up, steady and composed. "Yes, Your Honor, I call Janelle Brown." Gasps again ripple through the audience. Janelle stands, walking slowly to the stand. Her eyes dart between Kody and Meri. You can tell she's torn, caught between the past and the truth. "Meri," she says softly, "I didn't want to take sides, but there's something everyone needs to hear." The courtroom falls silent once more. Kody looks at her pleadingly, shaking his head slightly. But Janelle doesn't stop. "A few years ago, I helped Kody manage some paperwork. It wasn't just show contracts. It was financial forms, legal agreements, and birth certificates. One of them didn't make sense. The dates didn't match. I asked Kody, but he told me it was a clerical error. Now I know it wasn't." Bold retention line. The truth doesn't hide in shadows. The truth hides in plain sight, cloaked behind the lies we choose to believe. The judge looks alarmed. "Mrs. Brown, are you saying that the legal documents were altered?" "Yes," Janelle says, "and I believe they were changed to make the timeline of that child fit the show's narrative." Robyn sobs softly. Kody slams his hand on the table. "Enough. You're all trying to destroy me." The judge snaps, "Mr. Brown, control yourself." Meri's voice cuts through the chaos in a quiet yet powerful way. "No, Kody. You destroyed yourself the moment you chose lies over love." With that, the judge calls for a short break before he summons the legal clerk to check the documents. As the people start to file out, Meri surveys the courtroom. The flashbulbs, the whispers, the stares, it's all just a little too much. But for the first time in years, she doesn't feel small. She feels free. She mutters under her breath, "He can't silence me anymore." Outside, the sky darkens. The rain starts falling against the courthouse glass, a soft and haunting rhythm, as if the world itself is in mourning for what has happened to this family. It zooms in on Kody's face. He is not mad anymore. He's scared. He knows, deep down, this trial isn't about one lie. It's about the empire of deception that has been built around his name. And for the first time, Even he can't tell where the truth ends and the lies begin. Bold retention line. Every empire built on secrets faces the storm it created. Fade to black. The rain still softly taps against the courthouse windows as the trial resumes. The air is heavier now, filled with what has already been said and what is about to be exposed. You can feel it with every breath, every glance, every heartbeat that dares echo in that courtroom. The judge returns, robe flowing like a shadow. She looks serious, almost cautious, as if she knows what's about to unfold will change everything. Court is now back in session, she says. The court clerk will proceed with the reading of Exhibit A, DNA results provided by the plaintiff, Mrs. Meri Brown. Meri sits still, her face unreadable. But her hands? They slightly quiver under the table. She's waited years for this moment. But now that it's here, it doesn't feel like victory. It feels like standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down at everything that once was. Across from her, Kody's jaw is tight. He's staring straight ahead, refusing to look at anyone. Robyn's mascara has smudged from crying, but her eyes, they're strangely calm now, like someone who's accepted what's coming. The clerk steps forward, holding the paper. His voice shakes as he begins. This test was done to determine the paternity of the minor child in question. The results indicate a 99.98% probability that the room fell silent. One could have heard a pin drop. Kody Brown is the biological father of the child. However, the clerk hesitates, looking up nervously. There is an inconsistency between the date of conception as recorded and the birth record on file with the state. The words hang there, heavy and damning. Bold retention line. Sometimes it is not the truth that hurts, but how long it had been hidden. The judge nods slowly. Continue, please. The clerk clears his throat. Based on medical and genetic analysis, conception likely happened during a period when Mr. Brown was publicly and legally married to Mrs. Meri Brown, and prior to announcement of any court-recognized union with Mrs. Robyn Brown. The audience releases a low gasp. Cameras click. Someone in the back whispers, "He was cheating the whole time." Meri closes her eyes. That's the confirmation she never wanted but knew all along. Her chest rises and falls, fighting back years of pain, betrayal, and humiliation, all finding a name. The judge looks over at Kody. "Mr. Brown, would you like to respond?" Kody's voice cracks as he finally speaks. "I made a mistake. I was confused, broken. Our family was falling apart. I didn't mean to hurt anyone." These words have a rehearsed emptiness to them, the same tone viewers have heard 100 times on television. A man defending his pride more than his heart. Meri looks up at him sharply. "You didn't mean to hurt anyone? Kody, you built an entire show, an entire brand around being a righteous husband while you were hiding a child from your own wife." Her voice breaks mid-sentence, but she presses on. "Do you know what that did to me? To us? Every time I asked for the truth, you called me jealous, dramatic, unstable. But I wasn't crazy, was I? I was right." The courtroom is dead silent again. Even the reporters have stopped writing. Bold retention line. The worst kind of betrayal isn't when someone lies. It's when they make you question your own reality. Robyn wipes her tears and finally speaks. Her voice quivering but clear. "He didn't only lie to Meri. He lied to me too. He told me she'd agreed to it. He said the family knew. I built my whole life on that lie." Kody buries his face in his hands. "Stop it, Robyn. You're making it worse." She shakes her head. "No, Kody. You made it worse the moment you thought love could survive deceit." The judge interrupts, firm in tone. Mr. Brown, with this in evidence, the court will proceed to determine whether there was fraud in the representation of family identity and contracts related to your media productions. Kody looks shocked. Fraud? I never committed fraud. The judge leans forward. When a family's identity becomes a brand, and that brand is built on deception, the law doesn't see heartbreak. It sees manipulation. Bold retention line. When lies have profit attached, they stop being mistakes. They become crimes. Meri breathes deeply, her eyes glistening. For years, she's wanted this accountability. But now that it's here, she doesn't feel triumphant. She feels empty, because the man she loved for half her life is unrecognizable. Sitting behind her, Christine wipes away tears, then leans forward and whispers to Janelle. It's over. There's no going back after this. The judge allows a brief recess. As the room clears, for the first time, Kody looks at Meri. His voice is at a low, desperate pitch. You didn't have to do this here, Meri. You could have called me. We could have talked. She gives a hard, mirthless laugh. Talked? Kody? I've been trying to talk for years. You only hear yourself. Her voice softens, but her eyes stay fierce. This wasn't about revenge. It's about truth. Because the woman you made me feel like, broken, unwanted, she deserved this moment. Kody's eyes fill with regret, or perhaps just fear of what comes next. You're going to ruin everything, Meri. She leans in closer. You already did. Bold retention line. Sometimes the only way to heal from a lie is to set it on fire. Outside, thunder booms. What had begun as a gentle storm now pounds against the courthouse like a drumbeat. Reporters swarm the steps, shouting out questions about paternity, contracts, and betrayals. But inside, it's eerily still, like everyone knows something, even darker, is still waiting. When court resumes, the judge turns to Meri. Do you have anything further to submit? Meri nods. Yes, Your Honor. I have written communication records between Kody and Robyn, dated months before he ever told the family about her. They discuss plans to manage the storyline before introducing her to the wives and audience. The color drains from Kody's face. The courtroom erupts with noise. Order, the judge yells, slamming the gavel. Robyn begins to sob again. He told me it was temporary. He said it was just to make things smoother when filming began. Christine whispers to Janelle, "Oh my God, he planned all of it." Meri's voice steadies, low and calm. He didn't just betray his wives. He used all of us. For control, for image, for money. And that's not a family, Your Honor. That's a performance. The judge takes a deep breath, visibly moved. This court will take all submitted evidence under review. But before we recess for the day, Mrs. Brown, is there anything you'd like to say directly to Mr. Brown? Meri now turns toward Kody. Their eyes lock, and 20 years of love, resentment, hope, and heartbreak collide in one silent stare. She says softly, "You always said you wanted your truth to be seen. Well, here it is. Everyone sees it now." Kody's voice is barely audible. "Meri, I never stopped caring." She nods. "Maybe not, but you stopped respecting me. And that's worse." Bold retention line. Respect is the last thread that holds love together. Once it's gone, the rest unravels fast. The judge announces adjournment for the day. As people rise to leave, Meri remains seated for a moment more. The courtroom slowly empties, until only echoes of footsteps remain. She looks into the now empty seat that Kody occupied, and in a whisper, says to herself, "For years I thought the truth would destroy me, but it's the only thing keeping me alive now." Outside, Cameras flash as the Brown family walks into the storm. Each of them changed, exposed, and unsure of what comes next. The truth is out, but the fallout is only beginning. Fade to black as thunder booms. Bold retention line. Every storm ends, but what it leaves behind is never the same. The next morning, the courthouse has the feeling of a battlefield that's been left overnight. Quiet, but heavy with the smell of smoke that never truly clears. Cameras crowd the steps again. Fans, reporters, even ex-crew members from Sister Wives gather outside, whispering. Everyone knows today's the day. The verdict might not come yet, but the truth will. Inside, Meri walks slowly through the double doors. Her face is calm, but her eyes are red, not from crying, but from finally sleeping after a decade of sleepless nights. She knows what she has to do today. She's fighting not for love anymore. She's fighting for dignity. Kody enters seconds later, avoiding her gaze. His suit looks pressed, but his spirit doesn't. He seems smaller, no longer the assured patriarch fans used to see on TV, but a man whose empire of faith and family is crumbling right beneath his feet. Robyn sits behind him, clutching a handkerchief. Christine and Janelle exchange nervous glances from the gallery. They didn't come for revenge. They came for closure. The judge calls the room to order. Today, she says, we will address the remaining testimony and statements tied to the fraud allegations. I expect honesty and restraint. Meri nods. Kody doesn't. The court clerk opens a file. Mrs. Meri Brown, please approach. Meri rises, her heels clicking against the marble floor. Steady, determined. Her voice doesn't shake this time. Your Honor, I grew up in a family built on trust, or so I thought. But behind that trust, there was a script, a plan. We didn't just live our lives, we performed them. Kody sighs loudly, murmuring, "That's not true." Meri turns toward him. Then tell them about the producer emails, Kody. Tell them how you staged arguments to look real. How you told us which emotions to exaggerate for ratings. A murmur fills the courtroom. The judge raises her brow. Is this true, Mr. Brown? Kody hesitates. It's reality TV. That's how it works. Everyone does it. Bold retention line. When a lie becomes routine, the liar forgets where the truth even began. Meri continues. That may be true, but we weren't actors, Kody. We were wives, mothers, women who believed in something sacred, and you turned it into a storyline. The tension in the room grows thicker. Robyn looks down. Shame burning across her face. Christine grips Janelle's hand. They both know this was always coming, but hearing it out loud still hurts. The judge clears her throat. Mrs. Brown, please continue. Meri nods. When I confronted Kody in private about the child and about Robyn, he didn't apologize. He strategized. He said, and I quote, "We can use this for season 17. Gasps echo. Kody slams his hand on the table. That's out of context. The judge snaps. Mr. Brown. One more outburst, and I'll hold you in contempt. Kody settles back, his eyes ablaze with anger. For once, he is not the man in control. Bold retention line. The loudest man in the room is often the one who's losing power. The court then calls Robyn to the stand. She hesitates, looks over at Kody for reassurance, but this time he doesn't look back. He's staring straight ahead, trapped in his own panic. Robyn takes a shaky breath. I want to tell the truth, Your Honor. The judge nods. You may proceed. Robyn wipes away her tears and addresses Meri directly. He told me we were creating something divine, a family that would inspire others. And the whole time, he was lying to me too. The relationship started when he was still with you. I didn't know how deep it went until I saw those emails. I tried to leave once, but he said if I did, the show, and all of us, would collapse. Meri's lips tremble. You stayed anyway. Robyn nods, because he made me believe I was the only one he truly loved, and I was foolish enough to want to believe it. The courtroom feels colder now. Nobody moves, not even the judge. The truth has finally stripped every layer of pretense away. Bold retention line. Sometimes love doesn't blind us. It buries us alive under the lies we refuse to uncover. Kody finally stands, his voice breaking. Enough. You think you know me, but you don't. You all turned your backs on me. You left me to handle everything alone. The family, the press, the shame. I carried this family. The judge slams her gavel. Sit down, Mr. Brown. But instead, Meri rises. No, let him talk. Let the world hear him, not the man on TV, but the man behind it. Kody's breathing quickens. His anger morphs into something else. Desperation. I gave everything. I built that show to protect us, to show the world we weren't monsters. Meri takes a step closer. You didn't protect us. You exposed us. You used faith as a stage and family as a costume. And now you're just a man who's afraid to live without control. Kody stumbles back a step. The courtroom goes silent again. His chest rises fast, pride collapsing into something unfamiliar. Guilt. Tears well in his eyes. For the first time, he doesn't argue. He just whispers, maybe you're right. Bold retention line. Some truths don't destroy you. They free you from the person you were pretending to be. He says nothing else, letting the silence stretch out until this court will study financial and contractual claims in depth. But for today, this session is adjourned. She slams the gavel, and no one moves. The emotional weight is too heavy to stand under. Meri lowers herself slowly onto her chair, wiping her eyes. She's not smiling. There's no joy in justice, only release. Christine and Janelle walk over to hug her wordlessly. Not triumph, sisterhood. Forged not through Kody's dream, but through shared survival. Kody freezes, staring at the floor. His lawyer leans in close to whisper something about damage control. Public statement, but he doesn't respond. The man who had 4 wives, a TV empire, and millions of viewers is now merely a silhouette of regret. Outside, the sky splits open again. Not rain this time, but sun. The reporters mob the steps, microphones flashing like sparks. A journalist shouts, "Meri, do you forgive him?" She stops for a second, thinking. Then she answers softly, "Forgiveness isn't for him, it's for me." Another voice shouts, "What's next?" She smiles faintly. "I start over." Bold retention line. The end of one chapter isn't loss, but rather liberation disguised as pain. As Meri walks away, Christine catches up. "You okay?" Meri nods. "For the first time in years." "Yeah." She exits alone, her eyes red, clutching her purse like a shield, as the reporters swarm her, too, asking questions about lies and love and guilt. She says nothing, just keeps walking until the cameras fade. Kody is the last one to leave. He stands on the steps, looking at the flashing lights, the crowd that once cheered for him now murmuring judgment. To himself, he whispers, "This wasn't supposed to end like this." But maybe it was. Because some stories aren't meant to stay pretty. They're meant to end honestly. The scene fades as Meri drives off, and her reflection is visible in the car mirror. Tired, yet free. The courthouse disappears behind her, as an open road lies ahead. Her voice echoes in narration. "I thought the truth would destroy us. but maybe it just revealed who we were all along. Bold retention line. In the ashes of betrayal, the strongest thing you can rebuild is yourself. The last day of the sister wives' trial feels different. The air outside the courthouse isn't tense anymore, it's expectant. There's a crowd again, holding up their phones, hoping to snap a piece of history. For weeks, the world watched this family fall apart, piece by piece. But today, they're waiting to see what remains standing after the truth has settled. Inside the courtroom, sunlight streams through the high windows, catching on the dust motes hanging in the air like glitter. All the benches are full. Christine and Janelle huddle together, whispering softly. Robyn stares ahead, pale and tired, her hands clasped together. And at the front, Kody Robyn sits in silence, eyes down, a man unrecognizable from the confident patriarch that once led a family of 4 wives and a TV empire. The judge enters. All rise. The room stands. The silence is so thick it feels alive. "Please be seated," says the judge. Her voice is steady, but even she seems to feel the gravity of this moment. She looks down at the folder in front of her. "We've heard testimony from all sides. We've reviewed financial documents, communication records, and the DNA evidence submitted." Her eyes rise to meet Kody's. This court recognizes the years of pain, manipulation, and deceit intertwined with this case. What began as a question of money has become something much deeper, a question of truth. Meri sits still. Her breathing is slow, almost deliberate, as if she is preparing to let go of something she has held onto too tightly for so long. Bold retention line. Sometimes justice isn't about punishment. It's about finally being seen. Then, the judge said, "Mr. Brown, the court finds evidence of emotional manipulation and financial misconduct tied to the Sister Wives production contract. You will be ordered to pay restitution to your ex-wives in addition to making a public statement of accountability." Gasps ripple through the crowd. Kody doesn't move. His expression remains unreadable. The judge now turns to Meri. "Mrs. Brown, while your actions in exposing this evidence have caused public disruption, this court recognizes your courage in bringing forward the truth." Meri nods, her eyes glistening. "Thank you, Your Honor." Then, the judge turns to Robyn. "Mrs. Robyn Brown, your cooperation in this case is noted and appreciated. It is the hope of the court that you find closure beyond this proceeding." Robyn's tears spill over. "I just want peace," she whispers. Kody speaks finally, his voice quiet but hoarse. "Peace? You all destroyed everything. The show, our family, our legacy." Meri turns slightly, her tone calm but firm. "No, Kody. You destroyed it the moment you stopped seeing us as people and started seeing us as props." The room freezes. Words heavy with raw, undeniable truth hang in the air. Bold retention line. In the end, the truth doesn't shout, it just refuses to stay silent. The judge taps her gavel. Court is adjourned. Just like that, it's over. The audience exhales together as though a spell has been broken. Reporters hurry outside, calling out questions. Cameras flash as Meri exits first, Christine and Janelle to her side. A silent moment is shared among the 3 women, a kind of peace that has eluded them for years. There are no smiles, but in the silence, there's strength. Christine turns to Meri. "You did it." Meri shakes her head softly. "No, we did. For once, we told the truth, not for cameras, but for ourselves." They hug tightly, and around them, the noise fades, as if the world outside doesn't matter. The next to emerge is Robyn, flanked by her attorney. She has her head down, but the tears are evident. A reporter calls out, "Robyn, do you regret marrying Kody?" She stops for a moment, her voice trembling. "I regret believing the lies, but I don't regret learning the truth." Then she walks away, leaving behind the echoes of the only honest words she's ever said in public. Bold retention line. It's when regret meets truth that healing finally begins. Alone, Kody stays inside. With the courtroom emptied, he sat at the defendant's table, staring at the wooden surface. The man who once had it all, fame, family, faith, now has nothing but the sound of his own breathing. A young court clerk approaches delicately. "Sir, it's time to go." He nods slowly and stands up. His hands shake slightly as he gathers his papers. He looks back, before leaving, at the bench, the witness stand, and then finally, the door his wives left through just moments before. There's no anger left, only that quiet ache of realization. As he walks out, the sound of cameras explodes outside. He flinches under the lights as whispers follow him like shadows. But nobody is listening to Kody anymore. The world has already moved on. From his story to theirs. Bold retention line. Sometimes the end of your story is just the beginning of someone else's healing. The camera fades into the soft glow of desert light later that evening. The Brown family's old cul-de-sac stands silent. Where once the houses were filled with laughter and chaos, they are now empty, save for one. Meri's inside. She's packing boxes. Old photos line the table. The sister wives smiling together. Years before, everything fell apart. She pauses on one photo, her and Kody, back when they were young and full of hope. She touches the edge of the frame and whispers, "I forgive you, but I'm done carrying your story." She then places the photo in the box and closes it gently. She then exits, locking the door behind her. The camera pans up as she walks towards her car. In the background, the Arizona sunset bleeds gold and red across the horizon. Meri's voice plays in narration. "We spent years pretending we were one big happy family, but families built on secrets don't last. Maybe that's the lesson. You can't rewrite the truth, no matter how many cameras you put in front of it." The shot lingers on her as she drives away, with the road endless, open, and bathed in light. The wind catches her hair as she whispers, almost smiling, "This time the story's mine." Bold retention line. When you stop fighting for someone who broke you, that's the time you finally make room for your own peace.